Okay, good day everyone. Welcome to our two-part video lecture. So, these topics will be the last topics for your finance. So, bale ang finals exam ninyo is tatlong topic. Globalization in education, global city, and global demography. So, I will be discussing first the global city and then followed by global demography. So, this is part 1 of 2 uh, of our lecture. So, for today, we will be discussing first the global city. So, at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to explain why globalization is a spatial phenomenon, identify the attributes of a global city, and analyze how cities serves as engines of globalization. So, why study global cities? We should study global cities because globalization is spatial. So, what do we mean by the word spatial? When we say spatial, this means that it relates to or occupies a space. Yan. Globalization is spatial because it occurs in physical spaces. So, 'di ba sabi nga natin before, paulit-ulit nating topic na globalization is about the increased interconnection between different parts of the world. So, globalization involves the movement of goods, services, people, and ideas across vast distances. So, bakit siya spatial? Kasi globalization does not just happen. So, it has consequences on physical spaces. So, makikita mo yung globalization sa mga physical spaces. So, this can be seen in the rise of global cities that act as economic hubs, the transformation of industrial landscapes, and other geographical outcomes of globalization. Aside from that, another example or another reason why globalization is spatial, kasi because of globalization, there are foreign investments. So, and also, the capital or the money move through a city. And it can also be seen through the big buildings or yung mga skyscrapers. Like sa Dubai, di ba? Matataas yung mga buildings doon. So, people who are working in this business or Filipinos working abroad start to purchase or rent high-rise condominium units and better homes. So, the global city was a term that was popularized by Saskia Sassen. So, Saskia Sassen was a sociologist and during 1990s, she popularized the term global city. So, according to Sassen, para masabi mo na yung city ay global city kapag maganda yung ekonomiya nito. So, ang primary criteria ni Sassen to be considered as a global city is the economic aspect of that city. So, in her book or in her studies, she initially identified 3 global cities. So, andyan yung New York, London, and Tokyo. So, itong tatlong ito, they are all hubs of global finance and capitalism. Kasi sa New York, it is the home of the New York Stock Exchange. So, global finance. London, home of the Financial Times Stock Exchange. And Tokyo is the home of Nikkei. So, yan yung top global finance sa Japan. The global economy has changed significantly since Sassen wrote her book, and any amount of the economic power of the cities today must take note of the latest developments. So, maraming comments din doon sa book or doon sa research ni Sassen. 'Di ba sabi nga natin na according to Sassen is ang primary indicator for a city to be considered as a global city is the economic aspect. However, maraming commentators nagsasabi na since modern na tayo ngayon, marami nang nagbago, kailangan din tingnan natin yung mga latest developments. So, kailangan din natin i-expand yung criteria na ginamit ni Sassen sa pag-define or for a city to be considered as a global city. So, there are some other people na sabi nila a city is considered as a global kapag maganda silang tirahan. So, yeah. So, what can we draw from that? So, anong conclusion dyan? A global city is difficult to define. So, one way of solving this dilemma is to go beyond the simple dichotomy of global and non-global, and instead of asking whether if one city is a global city, it's better to ask in what ways are cities global and to what extent are they global. So, yan. In short, kailangan din natin tingnan yung mga ibang aspeto, hindi lang sa economic aspect ng isang city. So, here are some indicators for globality. Ito yung sinasabi ni Sassen na yung pinaka-primary characteristic of a global city is economic power. So, although may mga comments na kailangan tingnan din yung ibang aspeto, sabi ng mga ng ibang commentators, tama pa rin naman si Sassen na ang pinaka-primary characteristic pa rin ng global city is yung economic power. Though, kailangan pa rin tingnan yung mga ibang aspeto. So, yung Economist Intelligence Unit, they added some other criteria. So, 'di ba, sabi ng mga commentators, kailangan i-expand yung criteria. So, yan yung ginawa ng Economist Intelligence Unit. They expanded the criteria of a global city. So, sabi nila, kailangan din tingnan yung market size, yung purchasing power of citizens, yung size of the middle class, and potential for growth. So, yung mga aspetong yan ang dapat tingnan din para makonsider ang isang city as a global city. Another indicators for globality or global city is that global cities are also centers of authority. Anong ibig sabihin niya? Ang ibig sabihin nito, may political influence yung city na yon. Maaaring home siya ng mga embassy, home siya ng mga different or headquarters siya ng mga different international organization. So, kapag ganyan yung isang city, maaring mayroon silang malakas na boses. They have a strong voice in national and international affairs. So, for example, etong mga cities na to which houses the major international organizations. So, they are considered as centers of political influence. We have the New York. So, New York yung headquarters ng UN or the United Nations. Yung Brussels naman, yan yung headquarters ng EU or the European Union. Yung Jakarta, Indonesia, is the main headquarters of the Association of Southeast Asian Nation or the ASEAN. And Frankfurt, the headquarters of the European Central Bank. Another indicators for globality is that global cities are centers of higher learning and education. So, ibig sabihin nito, global cities attract and houses some of the world's most prestigious universities and yung mga prestigious research institution. So, itong mga universities and institutions na to, they produce graduates which are talented. And they also produce good researchers from all around the globe. So, we have an example for this is the Oxford University and Cambridge, which can be found in London. We also have the Harvard University. So, yan yung mga example ng global cities na particularly centers of higher learning and culture. So, sabi dito, hindi lang focus sa educational institution. Meron ding about culture. So, global cities boast a wealth of museums, art galleries, mga theaters, and other cultural institutions. So, for example, itong mga sinabi ko, mga nabanggit ko, these are venues wherein mga artists showcase their talents in art, in history, and culture, and also it attracts visitors and it serves as hubs for artistic expression. So an example of that is the Louvre Museum in Paris. So it's an art museum. We have also the Metropolitan Museum of Arts in New York. So today, global cities become culturally diverse. It is the cultural power of global cities that ties them to the imagination. The challenges of global cities. Global cities conjure up images of fast-paced, exciting, cosmopolitan styles. But such descriptions are lacking. So, sinasabi lang naman dito sa slide na to, na hindi lahat maganda yung naidulot ng globalization sa global city. So, there are also downsides sa global cities. So, an example of that, global cities can be also sites of great inequality and poverty, as well as tremendous violence. So, the next slides, we will be discussing paano siya naging site of great inequality, paano din siya nag-a-attract sa violence. Okay, this is not Okay. So, the major terror attacks of recent years have targeted cities. So, yung mga cities, especially those with global influence, are obvious targets for terrorists due to their high populations and their role as symbols of globalization that many terrorists despise. The same attributes that make them attractive to workers and migrants make them sites of potential terrorist violence. So, ito yung reason bakit favorite daw atakihin ng mga terorista yung mga global cities. Bakit sila nagfo-focus sa global cities? Kasi, yung global cities are cities with significant global influence. And aside from that, mataas yung population nila. So, ibig sabihin, kapag mataas yung population ng isang city, um, isang atake lang ng mga terorista can cause many casualties. So, maximizing the terrorists maximize the fear and the impact of that single attack to those to that city with high population. And bakit target din nila yung cities with significant global influence? Kasi yung mga terorista, they oppose globalization. So, kapag inatake nila yung mga major cities, which are centers of globalization, parang inaatake nila yung globalization. So, an example of this is the 9/11 attack. So, yung 9/11 attack, so, inatake nila yung New York City. So, yung New York City is a na-discuss natin kanina na it's a global center for finance and trade. So, bakit nila pinili yung New York? Kasi, mataas yung population doon, and then, it is a symbol of American economic and cultural power. So, ang inatake ng mga terorista, particularly Al-Qaeda, is the World Trade Center that can be found in the Pentagon, New York City. So, sabi din natin kanina na economic globalization has paved the way for massive inequality. Ibig sabihin, kahit na nagiging globalized na tayo, na naging advanced na yung mga technologies natin, marami na ang infrastructure, etc., patuloy pa rin nagwa-widen yung gap between the rich and the poor. So, yan. Gaya dito sa Manila. So, for example, in Manila, makikita mo na globalize yung Manila kasi maraming matataas na condo, maraming magagandang building, maraming malalaking malls, andyan na yung MOA, yung North EDSA, Glorieta, etc., etc., BGC. Although, maraming magagandang buildings, maraming mga malls, ang downside niyan, marami ding mga nakatira sa squatter area. Lalong-lalo na sa side sa may MOA. So, yung parang likod nun, maraming mga informal settlers. So, that is the downside of economic globalization. Although, sabi dito, may mga countries din na nagpapatupad ng state-led social redistribution programs. For example, in Scandinavia, nagpapatupad daw sila ng redistribution programs. Meron din dito sa Philippines. We have the 4Ps program, kung saan tinutulungan din natin yung mga nasa laylayan. So, may mga nakukuha din sila every month. Meron din yung kasalukuyan ngayon, which is yung Tupad. So, it's also a state-led social redistribution program, which aims to mitigate the number of poor people. However, despite of that programs that were utilized by our government, hindi pa rin nababawasan or hindi pa rin patuloy pa rin nagwa-widen yung gap between the rich and the poor. Okay. So, as a conclusion, global cities are sites and mediums of globalization. So, they are therefore material representations of the phenomenon. Through them, we see the best of globalization. They are places that create exciting fusions of culture and ideas. However, they are also places that they are also places that generate tremendous wealth. However, sabi nga natin kanina, they are also sites of great inequality. So the question of how globalization can be made more just is partly a question of how people make their cities more just. So that's our discussion for the global city. So kindly stand by for the part 2 of our discussion.